Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 31 of the next generation of superstars. Very grateful to have Daneiro Dixon here, who's currently a forward in the sport of basketball. He's originally from Detroit, Michigan. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
Good to see you, man. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I wanted to hear more about, really how you started to find, the love for the game of basketball and really find your passion.
Absolutely. The love for basketball started for me early on. I love to actually tell a story about how, as a child, my dad would watch me as a kid shoot socks into a what is it called? It's like a clothing basket. I would shoot socks into a clothing basket.
Like a small little trash basket.
And ever since then, it's just been love at first sight.
That's awesome. And then what about when you were growing up? You see your dad was supporting you. Was there a lot of support from the rest of your family or friends as you really try to, take this seriously and dive into perfecting your craft?
Absolutely. I have a very tight-knit family, very close circle. My friends were very supportive of my dreams early on. One of my best friends growing up as a child, Brandon Mayberry, I can remember he actually would go out and work with me all summer, and it actually elevated me to become better at the sport early on. And I grew from there and meeting other friends along the way, my friends back home in Detroit, who guided me, helped me stay away from different things and stay in and keep playing, keep pushing.
I love it, man. That's awesome. And you said your community back at Detroit. What was kind of that growing up with that culture in Detroit with basketball? How was that culture? How did it kind of help you with your growth in the sport?
Absolutely. The culture of basketball in Detroit is interesting. I would describe it as a very gritty game. It's definitely gritty. It taught me to be tough early on. My dad taught me to just go out there, give it your all at all times, and be the toughest person out there no matter what. And that's what led me on to be able to play on a lot of courts. Just toughness, being able to be the person with the biggest heart no matter who I have to face.
That's awesome. I love it. That's great, man. And kind of, you see that culture that you grew up with and that community, Detroit. If you've done it in the past, you plan on the future, what are some of the ways that you really envision, kind of giving back to your community in Detroit now that you're really excelling in the sport, playing at the level you're at?
Absolutely. I spoke with a couple friends who actually play college basketball as well. One of my childhood friends, Jalen Randall, he's playing ball down at Alabama A&M. We've had different talks about getting guys together in the community to be able to put something together for some kids. So we definitely look forward to having that happen soon.
I love it. That's awesome. And we would love to support you in that camp as much as possible, because I think that's incredible to be able to give back, to the youth that look up to you.
Absolutely. It's been something that I actually had been doing like on a more minor scale. Me and my brother, we would gather kids in the community and like build small leagues for them and just have them face off and play and stuff. And
awesome.
It would bring community and allow kids to stay out of trouble and fall in love with the sport. And my mom would could only tell you how much she hated having everybody at the house.
all the commotion and chaos going on, right?
Absolutely. All day, all night, sun up to sundown.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, good for you to be able to recognize that you have the ability to give back, to the youth and then the kids that look up to you. And it's the next generation of kids that are falling into your footsteps in the sport. And I think that's powerful to be able to show them what's possible, because you're a living example of that. And kind of talking more about, you said the skills of toughness. It's a gritty culture. You were growing up with the sport of basketball in Detroit. You had to pour your heart out every single time you're out there. What other skills have you learned from the sport that's kind of helped you, just outside of the sport in your everyday life?
I feel like the other skills that I've learned is how to connect with people of all different cultures. I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things that sports in general, not only basketball, is able to do. It's able to connect people of all cultures, all backgrounds. Not only did I play Aspire Academy that had players that represented, I want to say we had a team of players that represented over 5 countries at the time when I was at Aspire.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
That's
my
awesome.
my senior year playing at Aim High International, we had, I want to say, over seven different countries represented.
It's
It's
incredible.
being able to bring so many different people of all different types of backgrounds together and be able to form a brotherhood that's just, you can't describe.
100%. No, that's awesome. And I think that's important too, is that there's so many life skills that even, not even basketball, but everything that can teach you within just playing sports in general. And to be able to apply that, to how you connect with people, and how you, connect with people from different backgrounds or wherever it might be. It's really just, there's so many, leadership, communication, everything like that is so important. And just life after your career too. Well, what's been some of your most memorable career moments, so far, that you look back on and you're just grateful to have experienced that?
My most memorable career moment, I would say, is probably one of like my least notariable moments I've had so far as a player. It was actually an AAU game. Like, my dad is my rock. That's my guy. He was out of town and he was gonna miss the game. He was coming in town and he had got right back in town to catch the last minute and a half of a game. And we were down 6 and I hit 3 straight threes to win the game.
That's unreal. I love
Yeah,
it. I love it. That's awesome. And he came in right as as everything kind of just turned into your favorite.
absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's something you'll always cherish forever, be able to share those moments, and especially with family there, in your presence as that moment takes off. And I think that's just incredible. And I
Yep.
think more as just, you being a student athlete, there's so much that goes into it. Right. And I think something that people on the outside, they don't see, is like how much training there is for not only physically, but mentally, right. To be able to be mentally sharp in what you're doing in your craft. What does that training look like, on both a physical and mental level, to really be at the top of your game?
Without a doubt. I want to put emphasis on the mental aspect that you spoke upon there, because a lot of athletes minimize it. We tend to think that the stronger we are, the more physical we are, it can take us so far. It can only take you so far. You're only as good as your mind can take you. And I want to say I learned how big mental was in sport when I arrived at Spire. We had a mental skills coach. His name was Lynn Spacek. Great guy. He taught us so many different things, different breathing techniques, meditational techniques, and visualization techniques, different things to center ourselves as athletes. And that completely evolved all of us. There was so much about ourselves that we didn't know until we unlocked that.
I love it. That's incredible, and I think that's something that's going to help you, even for years to come, even after you stop playing the sport, because that mental health, that mental toughness, it applies to everything. Whether it's in academics, in your sport, as you're connecting with people, in different industries. I think that's just so crucial to be able to control that, stay calm, and also, what are some of the ways that you really get in the zone? When you're in the, you said you hit 3 threes in a row in that game. How do you stay focused? There's always distractions on the outside. How do you stay in your own zone?
I want to say the easiest way to get in the zone is to think back to like just being at Baldock Park on Detroit Seaside. No matter what court I'm at, I just zone out. I just picture being home at Baldock Park, and I let go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It kind of takes you to that happy place, and you kind of just, don't think about anything else, but just you in that place, and kind of just you versus yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it's complete comfort. I don't think of nothing else but
Yep.
just me in that space.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what does more of your routine look like when you're in season, right? I know there's so much to balance as being a student athlete. What does your routine look like, and how do you kind of stay disciplined in your own way that works for you as an athlete?
Got you. My routine in season as an athlete, I typically like to get my extra work in earlier on in the morning. I'll go out for a run. It depends. It just all depends around like scheduling for practices or different workouts. But I'll definitely
Right.
get 3 workouts in a day, a midday workout and a later at night workout. I gotta shout out my guy back home in Detroit, Weeze, my trainer, who actually uh, invested so much trust in me as an athlete early on that actually just made me able to believe in myself. So, it's always that person who believes in you that allows you to push yourself further than
100%.
you could before. And he believed in me early on. He pushed me. He's trained me since I was 12 years old all the way up until now. I still trust him. I give him a call anytime. And back home when I'm in Detroit, he has me in the gym at 12 midnight every night.
That's awesome. You're there. He's not letting you go home early to go to sleep. You're there and you put in the work in.
Not at all. We're not leaving the gym until I say 2:30 if he's being friendly.
So you might be there till like 3, 4 a.m. Most times.
Absolutely, and then he'll give you that call in the morning. Come on.
Yeah, he'd be like, "You up? You're not sleeping?" That's awesome, and that's good to be able to have someone to help you keep accountability, because you can only keep yourself accountability so far until someone really can be there to believe in you more and help you get to that next level. And I think that's just so crucial to have those mentors and coaches and trainers around you that can really help support your growth as an individual.
Absolutely. To add on to that, to add on to what we talked about as far as mental health, it's also the mental voices that you have in your ear of those people that believe in you, that is able to get you back in the zone, relock you in. I always either think of him, my dad, or just different people I've had who've told me something that I need in that moment to get me going.
That's awesome. Yep, it's so true. It's so true on all levels. And kind of switching a little bit gears into, your teammates, the camaraderie you've probably built with so many teammates, whether it's been AAU and high school and so forth. There's got to be some funny stories that you look back on and just, love to cherish and enjoy with some of your teammates. Has there been anything that you've shared with your teammates, and any funny stories around that?
Any funny stories? There's a lot of different funny stories. I got a lot of different funny stories with my guy Rob Bob back at Spire, Big Rob. I want to say the funniest stories come from Aim High International. In our room that we had 4 different guys in our room, and we had the funniest room. We'd be cracking jokes at 3 a.m, have to turn around 6 a.m for our work.
I love it. That's awesome. And you think back to those moments, and even as you excel through your career, it's like you get to cherish so many of those good times. You build that bond with those teammates that you'll have for decades to come. And that's something that's just priceless, right? And I think that's why it's so big, like you said earlier on in the show, is to be able to connect with people. And it doesn't matter, where they're from, their background, and so forth. To be able to do that and have great teammates and all support each other and enjoy good times, there's nothing like it, and I think it's incredible. That's awesome. That's awesome. And kind of shifting more into, more of a big topic these past couple of years, as with the NIL space emerging, that happening in the summer of 2021. What was your reaction when you saw that you could actually take control of your own brand, really build it the way you want to design it, and go and connect with these brands and companies and founders and be able to actually monetize it in ways that you could not before?
The first thought that came to my mind was right on time.
I love it. I love it.
It was my freshman year of college, so it was like, all right, let's learn what this is. Let's get an understanding of how it's able to elevate ourselves as players, not only financially but as a brand. What is a brand? Different questions that you ask, and it definitely elevated everyone on a business level, which we know for many years athletes have been on the short end of the stick of the business side. Being able to take control of our destinies definitely changed the landscape of everything, to say the least.
So true. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think it's just so powerful because, this was a long time coming, and now that it's here and we've, been, almost 2 years into it, people and athletes and brands and everyone's really diving into how can we provide more education, more resources, more tools. Even at Burst, we're building our mobile app to provide more education to you and all of our athletes. So it's like there's so much around it that's being built, that's in a positive manner that I think is just so powerful to everybody involved, whether you're an athlete or brand in this whole space.
Absolutely. One thing that I loved was I saw a guy who's from the same community back home in Detroit, David DeJulius, who's playing down at Cincinnati. He used this NIL deal to sponsor for books and different necessities for Detroit public schools. And that was one thing that was amazing that I saw. You know, it's athletes being able to think on those levels to affect and impact communities, people who, you know, aren't able to, you know, be on that level, but are able to reap the benefits from it. It's absolutely amazing.
100%. I love it. And I think any way you can give back and really make that impact, like you're saying, is just, it's taking things to a new level. It's showing that you care about the youth and other people, you know, that you can impact in that community. And whether it's your community or new community, it just doesn't matter. If you can really give back in that positive manner, I think it's just so impactful to do so. And going further with NIL, the whole sports tech is evolving, right? And you see with us at Burst, you know, been working with us, and now we're getting things rolling with you. And what are your thoughts on how technology is helping you as an athlete, is helping the whole sports industry grow? What are your thoughts on all of that?
My thoughts on it is that it's amazing, because one thing that we've seen with the tech, you know, platform period, is that everything is evolving and elevating fast. You know,
Right.
before we could even know it or know what it is, you know, everything is going fast. So it's definitely, we're able to gather a different, what would I say? We're able to outreach a different group of people that we wouldn't be able to, because the internet is worldwide. So it's absolutely
100%. Yeah, we're more connected now than more than ever, right? And I think be able to do things in a more authentic and secure and transparent way. You know, even just us having a connection in two different parts of the world on Zoom, and be able to do a podcast episode within that. I mean, there's just so many new ways that's evolving. You see blockchain technology and everything else that's becoming more secure, and it's just powerful to be able to take ownership of that and control your brand and use your brand as a platform to inspire others and motivate others. You know, if you posted a video of you playing basketball, that could inspire someone looking up to you to go and chase their dream, and sharing that on social media and be able to show that, you know, you can actually go and make it happen. And I think it's awesome what people can use in a positive way, you know, with the technology.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Well, Daneiro, we'll kind of wrap up here shortly, but what's kind of your big vision with your career and kind of what you want to do, you know, with your goals right now?
I want to say one of the biggest things that I want to do is I want to open up a foundation back home in Detroit. You know, definitely something for the youth. You know, I have big plans in store for that. Definitely.
I love it. So open up a foundation for the youth back home in Detroit. That's awesome.
Absolutely. More than any type of personal accolade that I could accomplish, that is what I deeply, deeply want to accomplish in life.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Anyway, we can support you in doing that. We'd love to, because I think that's awesome to be able to do that. You've seen so many professional athletes, you know, all different sports that give back to their community with foundations and nonprofits, and to be able to see the youth and everybody else they've impacted. It's so awesome to see that. And I think, you know, with your vision and, you know, you're putting your you know, everything with your accolades aside and saying, you know, this is my why, and why I want to go and chase my dream and do things on this level and in the sport you play, because you want to be able to open up a foundation that can actually help out youth back home where it all started.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And kind of, you know, a little bit into shifting gear, what are some of your hobbies and passions outside of the sport of basketball when you do have some free time on your hands?
Anything. That's
a great answer.
I love to be good at anything. I don't know what it is. I've just always been competitive. I don't know what it doesn't matter. I'm telling you.
I love it.
I love to try, but it all starts from the ability to try new things. Being in Detroit, there's so many things that kids grow up there and feel like we're foxhole to one thing that we could see. And just I always had a desire to get out and see something else, see something different, right, and experience new things. So I said, hey, like I don't want to just see this one thing that I'm seeing back home. I want to be able to experience new things. So who am I to be opposed to any new experiences that I could come across.
100%. No, that's awesome. And I think having an open mind and be able to go and try new experiences, go try different activities, do different things, that allows you to gain more self-awareness of what you like and don't like, right? And I think that's why it's so important for people at a young age to go and try different things, right? See what they like, see what they don't like, and be able to then have a better answer and clarity on self-awareness of what they actually want to go after and chase, and make, and actually make a living out of. So I think that's awesome that you're open-minded to doing that stuff.
Absolutely.
And if you could, and we'll wrap this up here with this last question, Daneiro, if you could give 3 pieces of advice to the next generation, the youth that looks up to you, whether it's been life lessons or skills or anything that you have in mind, what would those 3 pieces of advice be, for the next generation?
One, most importantly, is to trust in your faith, whatever that may be. Definitely you have to be faithful. 2 is to learn yourself, understand yourself. That's a very huge part of, who you can become. You would never become as great as you can if you don't know what steps it takes to get there.
100%.
Third, I would definitely say to be resilient. To be resilient.
I love it, man. Those are all great pieces of advice. Just to recap what you said, number 1, trust in your faith, whatever that might be to that individual. You said number 2, understand yourself. That allows you to kind of get to where you want to be and have that self-awareness. And number 3, you should be resilient. And I think all 3 of those are great pieces of advice, lessons that, that have helped you and can definitely help others. So Daneiro Dixon here, from Detroit, Michigan. We appreciate you being on the show. This is episode number 31. Everybody go follow Daneiro all over social media and look forward to his season coming up next year. We appreciate you for being on the show, man.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.